All right, so first thing we want to be able to do with this one is we want to label the points. So pause as long as you need. You should have the PDF file for this. So pause as long as you need. Go ahead and label your points. Remember that your x-axis is this one right here, and your y-axis is this one right here. And when you write your ordered pair, it's always the x number first and the y number second. So for example, if we were going to label this point, the coordinates would be 1, 2, 3 for the x, and 1, 2 for the y. So 3, 2 would be the point that we would label with this. Remember to label your lines and not the spaces in between. Okay. So this is a no-no. We don't want to do this. This is what we want it to look like. Remember, these are positives, and these are negatives over here, and these are negatives down here. Okay. So go ahead and pause for as long as you need. Just do number 1 first, get all the points labeled, and then we'll talk about making the square in each quadrant. Okay, so your points are going to be 3, 2, 5, 4, let's see, 7, negative 2, 2, negative 3, negative 3, 2. These should all have parentheses around them. I'm just being lazy. This should be negative 8, 3. This should be negative 9, negative 1. And this should be negative 7, negative 5. If I remember those all correctly from today. So hopefully you've got those all labeled correctly. And so then the next thing that we want to be able to do is we want to be able to make a square in each quadrant using the given points as vertices. So what should happen is you should have a square in this quadrant, and you should be able to use these two as 2 of your corners. So 2 corners here, and then you need to find the other 2 corners. 2 corners here, find the other 2 corners. 2 corners here, find the other 2 corners. 2 corners here, find the other 2 corners. Okay. Now some of your squares may go into another quadrant. That's fine. Don't worry about that. So pause as long as you need, and then when you unpause it, I'll have the answers for you. Okay, so let's start in quadrant 1. Remember, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that's how we label the quadrants. If you don't remember, it's a big C, right? We start up in the top and we work our way around. Start up in the top and work our way around this way. So that's how you can remember the order of the quadrants. Most commonly, I think most people found this was a square that they could do in quadrant 1. It doesn't need to be one of the fancy tilted ones. If you do a fancy tilted one, if you go up 2 and over 2, then you also need to go down 2 and over 2, and then down 2 and over 2, and then up 2 and over 2. So if you did a tilted square, it would look like this. And you could also have a tilted square over here, like this. So this one has 3 options. You only needed to have 1. All right, let's move down to quadrant 2. Okay, so we've got these 2 points here, and we need to find the other one. So if you think about the strategy that we talked about from the previous flip chart or from the previous day, if we think about our driving directions, we would go down 1, and to the right 4. Okay, so to find the other 2 points, these are our old driving instructions. To find the new driving instructions, what we need to do is flip-flop the 1 and the 4. So we've got the 4 on the top and the 1. Now, instead of going down, we're going to go up, and we're going to keep the right. So you only need to change one of these 2. You're going to flip-flop these. You're going to keep one of these and change the other one. And it doesn't really matter which one you keep. You can keep either. You can change either one. It doesn't really matter as long as you're only changing one. So now we're not going to use these anymore, and we're going to use these as our 2 starting points. So from this point, we're going to go up 4 and right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 1. And again, from this point, we're going to go up 4 and right 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 1. And then draw your lines, and you should have your square. Now, if you wanted to go down 4 and left 1, it would look 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 1. And I almost did something really bad there, which is good. Don't count the starting point as one of your spots. Remember, you can't start counting until you move a space. So if you're telling a friend to get there, you can't count her house as having moved one block. So just remember that you can't start counting until you actually take a step, okay? So that would be the other option for a square of knowledge. And I'm going to erase that one because it gets into the way of the one that's in our third quadrant, which we're going to do next. So in the third quadrant, okay, we have these 2 points right here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find our driving directions. So we go down 4 and right 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So we went down 4 and we went 1, 2 to the right. Okay, so now to find the new driving instructions, I'm going to switch these two around, and I'm going to change one of them to the opposite. So instead of going down 4, I'm going to go up. And instead of going right, I'm going to keep, not instead of right, I am going to go right. Okay, so now we're going to go up 2 and right 4. So up 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and we're going to use this point as our second one. So up 2 and 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are the 2 points. Now, maybe you have a different strategy that works for you to find these next 2 points. The main thing is that they all have 4 90-degree angles and that all 4 sides are the same length. So those are the 2 biggest things that you have to check. All right, last one that we want to look at are these 2 down here. All right, so driving directions. From here to here, we're going to go up 1, and to the right 5. Move this out of the way. So now we're going to flip-flop the 5 and the 1, and instead of going up 1, we're going to go down 5, and we're going to keep the right. So we're not going to use these anymore. We're going to use these new driving directions, and we're going to do them once from each of the points. So I'm going to go down 5, right 1 from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, and 1 to the right, and down 5, right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 1. And connect your lines, connect your dots, and you should have a square. And sorry, mine is not quite so straight liney, but you get the idea. Okay, again, check to make sure that you have 4 90-degree angles, and check to see that all 4 of your sides are the same length. All right, the other thing that we wanted to talk about was figuring out the areas of all these shapes, okay? So I'm just going to let you pause, take some time, see if you can come up with the area. For example, the area of this one, basically what we're trying to figure out is how many whole blocks we can fit into this figure. So this one, the area would be 2 because we can fit 2 whole blocks into this area. They get a little bit harder as we move along, so if you can kind of figure out a strategy that works for you for each one of these, take some time to pause.
Who's ever working tonight? There are cookies in the main office if you would like some, and there's also popcorn in the lounge. Have a good weekend.
Cookies. All right, so take some time, pause, see if you can figure out some areas, and then we'll come back and we'll do I'll reveal the answers here. One thing that you may need before you get started, we talked a little bit about how you find the area of squares, how you find the area of rectangles, and how you find the area of triangles. So this might be something that you want to write down or refer back to. To find the area of squares and rectangles, you take the length times the width for both of those. And to find the area of triangles, you take base times height divided by 2. And remember that the base and the height have to be perpendicular to one another, which means 90-degree angle. And they need to be on straight lines and not diagonals. Okay, so if you look at number 3, that's kind of pertinent for number 3. All right, so if we look, these would be the answers, the areas for each one of these figures. 1 and 2 are pretty straightforward. On this one, we have a whole and then half of a square. So our area here is simply just 1 1/2. On this one, you have a base of 2 and you have a height of 2. Now remember, you're not counting the dots, you're counting how many spaces between the dots. So there's from 1 to 2, there's 1 space, and then from here to here, there's another space, and same thing here. From here to here is 1 space, and here to here is 2 spaces. So this would be a base of 2 and a height of 2. So your area would be 2 times 2 divided by 2, which these are gonna cancel out, so your area is going to be 2. Somebody else today said, well, I know that if I take this triangle and I flip it and I put it right here, then basically what I have is a rectangle with a length of 2 and a height of 1, so 2 times 1 is 2. So that's another way that you can think about that, and we're all about different strategies that work to figure out the same thing. Number 4, there's a couple of different ways that we talked about today. One person said, well, I know that if I take this off here and just add it down here, now I just have 1, 2, 3, 4 whole ones, so my answer would be 4. Somebody else said, well, I know that this is half right here, and this is half right here, so I have 1, 2, 3, 3 and a half, 4. So whichever way works best for your brain to think about it is the way that you should think about it. Number 5, we had a couple of really interesting strategies that we talked about today. So one student kind of did this. So he recognized that these rectangles here are length of 2 and width of 1. So a 2 by 1 here would give us an area of 2, but since only half of it is colored in, half of 2 is 1, so this figure right here would be 1, and that would be the same thing over here. And then this is half of a square, and this is half of half of a square and half of a square. So we have 1, 2, 2 and a half, 3. So the area for this one would be 3. Number 6 is one that we talked about in kind of terms of rectangles and triangles again. So we talked about this being another rectangle of 2 and 1. So the area of this rectangle would be 2 units. However, only half of it is shaded in and half of 2 is 1. So this part would be an area of 1. We have a half of a square here. We have a half of a square here. So that's 2. And then we have 2 more whole blocks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the area for number 6 would be 4. And again, this is just one strategy. So if you had another strategy that worked, then you're welcome to use that. Number 7, again, talking about triangles and rectangles. Whoops. All right, so again, another 2 by 1 rectangle. So the area of this rectangle here would be 2, but only again, half is filled in. So half of 2 is 1. And the same thing over here. This is a whole box, and then this is only half of a square. So we have 1, 2, 3, 3 and a half. So the area for this one would be 3 and a half. All right, again, looking at number 8. Okay, talking about some more rectangles, some more whole squares, and then down here, change the color of the dots so you can see the both ones here. Okay, so down here, and we can also think about this as a rectangle. So again, another 2 by 1 rectangle, which would have an area of 2 if it were all filled in, but since only half is filled in, this would be 1, this would be 1, this would be 1, and this would be 1, because they're all the same size rectangles. Okay, this one would be a whole square, this would be a whole square, and then this one down here would be a half. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 and a half, 6.5 or 6 and a half as our area. Number 9 and number 10 we didn't get to today in class, so I think I'll save those for another time if you want to work on those, just so that you can figure out whether or not you got the 8.5 for the 9 and the 10. But this is where we stopped today, and we'll pick up where we left on Monday. So hopefully this catches you up with where we're at. We have another CFA coming up on Wednesday, January 31st. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully you have a good weekend, and we'll see you soon.